Next for Vermont's massive education overhaul. Thank you for joining us at 6. I'm Darren Perrin.
And I'm Kat Viglianzoni. The promise after a taxpayer revolt was to get rising costs under control and improve quality. But after a state task force this weekend declined to recommend forced mergers of school districts, the reform plan is in doubt. Channel 3's Calvin Cutler is live in our Montpelier bureau. Calvin, what now?
Yeah, Kat and Darren, good evening. The school redistricting task force essentially said that their task, as outlined in state law, was virtually impossible given the time constraints. They're now looking to Governor Phil Scott and to top legislative Democrats to figure out what's next. In its final 168-page report, a majority of the task force concluded they didn't have enough time to redraw school district maps, the process was rushed, and the underlying education reform law is flawed. Task force members say thousands of Vermonters pushed back on their maps and stressed there's no evidence that consolidation saves money.
We didn't want to be irresponsible, right? We want to hand a report to the legislature that is accurate, that is based in data, based in research, and that can best support the state of Vermont.
The panel's tacit rejection of the legislature's mandate to create 3 school district maps highlights the complexity and the political struggle to carry out reform. But that's not good enough for the governor, who says the legislature will have to act where the task force did not.
We need to do something, so they're going to have to act as soon as they get back in.
One goal of consolidation is to make sure districts have the resources to hire the best teachers and provide more educational opportunities, which the state's education secretary says will help with education outcomes. Recent test data shows Vermont 4th graders are now being outperformed in reading and math by their peers in Mississippi, a historically low-performing state.
We need to ensure that the dollars we have are getting to or resourcing the system in the way that's going to support our teachers and give our students an unparalleled educational opportunities.
But some, including the statewide teachers union, continue to call for a course correction, scrapping the current reform plans and instead focusing on finding new revenue sources to support the current model. It's unclear what direction lawmakers will go in when they return to Montpelier in January. In a statement, House Speaker Jill Krowinski tells us her chamber remains focused on making education more affordable. She says, we'll continue to work with the education community, the Scott administration, and all Vermonters to consider the options before us and the next steps to meet our education transformation goals. Now, in just about 2 weeks, we'll get a report from the state which will project how much your property taxes could rise next year. And that number could determine the amount of urgency that leaders at the State House have to come up with a reform package. Reporting live in our Montpelier bureau, Calvin Cutler, Channel 3 News.